Guy Cummings, a charmer, a showstopper, a male stripper with at least 10 aliases and reportedly a rap sheet a mile long. If you're young, attractive, and the least bit trusting, look out.
If you had brown hair, he could make you believe you had green hair. He was so charming. Somebody who you thought loved you enough, and I really believed that he loved me.
He was so nice sometimes and then just so evil other times. There's just like two sides to him. It was like, I don't know, Jekyll and Hyde. He was really, really weird.
You're looking at the consummate Con Juan, a master of stealing women's hearts and allegedly their money. Authorities suspect that Guy Cummings has duped hundreds of people across the country, most of whom are too embarrassed to come forward. Most, but not all.
Pretty much when I first saw him, the appearance kind of with the short shirts and tight jeans, I was like, wow, that's really not my type of guy. But after I got to know him is when I really, truly, I fell in love with the guy.
Renee of Scottsdale, Arizona, met Guy Cummings in 1990. He told Renee he was Anthony Teodosio, a professional kickboxer who came from a wealthy family with real estate holdings in Hawaii.
He really cared about myself, my family, my mom and dad, and something for me what I wanted was to see somebody who's going to be a family man. He kept asking me to marry him. I was kind of more, is this a joke? You know, we just met. It's going a little bit too fast for me. But during the 2 weeks that we were together, he really swept me off my feet.
2 weeks and a day after they met, Renee became Mrs. Anthony Teodosio.
All right, let's not get too carried away here.
You caught us. How you doing?
How you doing?
Renee's parents gave their blessings, but only after they hired a private detective who found nothing suspicious in Anthony's background.
Can't complain. She's a dream.
But Anthony does have to leave in just a few days.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. I thought we were going to play some golf.
No, I'm sorry. I got to take off. I got a promotional tour in Thailand.
Renee's family was so charmed by her new husband that they readily agreed to loan him $40,000 to advance his kickboxing career.
Busy guy.
But when he comes back, we're going to Hawaii to fix up a house.
Yep, just like she wants, you know. Got to make it home sweet home for the little woman, you know.
Here's the new bride and groom. Their first Christmas together.
First and only Christmas together. Notable because it was one of Guy Cummings' rare appearances on videotape. In the months that followed, the move to Hawaii was put on hold, and not a single dime was paid back to Renee's family.
Nothing happened with his promises. At the time, we started getting kind of a little leery about him. He started going in and out of town. He'd call me up like at 3, 4 in the morning. He'd be crying on the phone and saying how much he missed me and how he doesn't want his life being this way.
In April of 1991, Cummings left Scottsdale on yet another business trip. He never came home. Renee and her family began to probe further. They were shocked to discover that everything about Anthony's life was a lie.
We went to the Attorney General's office in Arizona. I tell you, when you drive down to the Attorney General's office and they have a mugshot of your husband, your heart just drops.
Renee agreed to work with the police. Together, they came up with a perfect bait.
I sold the car. What should I do with the money?
Sold the car, huh? All right, great. How much money did you make?
$10,000.
$10,000, huh?
Yeah.
Guess I'll have to come home and invest that, you know?
Yeah.
Guys, what are you doing?
The bait worked. Guy Cummings, alias Anthony Teodosio, was arrested as he arrived in Arizona.
What are you doing?
I cannot even describe the feeling. I just feel like I had been raped for 6 months. I didn't know the person. And it hurt. It really hurt bad.
But Guy Cummings did not remain behind bars for long. Just over 3 weeks after his arrest, he was out on bail, and apparently up to his old tricks. Raymond, Massachusetts, July 1994.
Excuse me. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Okay. You old enough to be in here?
Am I old enough to be here? Yes, I am.
I'm just gonna have to see your ID. I'm sorry.
The guy at the door already checked it. I'm sure that you know that I'm all right.
I'm just double checking. That's all.
All right.
Sorry.
There you go.
Take a real pretty picture. Look at that.
Thanks.
All right.
With a smile like that. Just assumed that he worked there, and I handed him the ID, and that was it.
Thank you very much. You have a good night now.
But that was hardly it. A few weeks later, Cummings invited the young woman to breakfast.
I said to him, "How did you get my telephone number?" He said, "I remembered all your information from your driver's license, and I just looked you up." And I felt flattered by that. I'm like, oh my goodness, here's a guy going out of his way, finding out who I am, where I live, instead of thinking, this is some psycho.
Wrong company there. This is great, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
It's a perfect day out, too.
It is.
It is. It's... So,
He said that he owned a construction company with his brother, and that he was also an undercover police officer on a task force, on a drug task force. And he had to be very careful with who he dealt with, and that's what made me believe that this person could be trusted.
My thing is police work, you know, and I always get my man.
When we were at breakfast, he was talking about how he was working so hard and how he needed to get away and he needed a vacation and how he just would love to just up and go. And he said, how about just doing it with me? How about just up and leaving? Let's just get away from here, go to Hawaii. And he's like, well, I have the money to do it. Just call my travel agent, have the tickets. And I said, that's too good to be true.
Wait 1 second, please.
Guy,
I don't believe this.
what's the matter, guy?
I left the tickets in my wallet at home.
Check your bag.
I'm sorry.
In there, guy.
I left them at home. I know I did. I'm sorry.
What are we gonna do?
Look, check this out, okay? Go somewhere else. Go to Atlantic City. Nice quick trip. We'll put it on your card.
My card?
Yes, yep. Call my mother. She'll wire us the money. Okay? We'll have a great time. Trust me on this one, okay? Come on. Trust me. We'll go coffee, okay?
Christine bought it hook, line, and sinker. In Atlantic City, she picked up every tab.
Basically, he's just like, well, let's throw this on your credit card, throw the hotel on your credit card, and then my mom's going to be sending the money today. Oh, it hasn't arrived yet. It just kept... And that's when I started to believe, okay, something is up.
My credit cards are max.
I will pay you back
When?
when she wires me the money.
You're such a liar.
Look, I've had it. Enough of this and enough of you, okay? Goodbye.
Christine scrounged up the money for a ticket home. The 3-day trip had cost her about $5,000. A few weeks later, Cummings telephoned. He arranged a meeting with Christine, claiming he would have the money he owed her.
Hi, hon.
Hey, guy.
How you doing? You look great.
Where's my money?
Look, I feel really terrible about all of this. I'm really sorry.
I'm sorry, too, guy. Where's my money?
I got a friend coming by. He's got the money. He said he'd meet me at your house.
At my house?
I just wanted to get my money. I would have done anything to get the money, just to pay the credit card people, and I just wanted it over.
Trust me.
I can't believe you're doing
Gorgeous
this.
today. Look at you.
Christine never guessed that for the next 3 days, she would become a virtual prisoner in her own apartment.
He talked about killing people, mafia, and I didn't know what he was capable of doing. I didn't know if he was capable of having people come to my house. I didn't know if these people were coming to bring the money or if they were coming to kill me. I didn't know what. I just wanted to try and get along with this man so I didn't get hurt.
What's that over here?
Finally, in desperation, Christine's friends called the police.
What? How you doing? Can I talk to you for a minute?
Sure, no problem.
At that point, he had fled into the woods. There were no broken branches. There were no footprints. There was nothing to give an indication that he had been through the area.
More than 25 officers and a dozen police dogs set off in pursuit. Bullets went out over the local radio and television stations. 12 hours passed. Then Cummings was spotted by a woman in a neighboring community 5 miles away. The police were amazed that Cummings had managed to elude them with such ease.
Do you have anything to say?
Statements that Guy made after his arrest was that he was a fan of the Rambo movies, and apparently he was, because he utilized various techniques from, I believe, Rambo 1, 2, and 3.
Why was I on the run?
Yeah.
System.
When he was arrested and placed on local media, he'd be flexing for the cameras, he'd be looking at the cameras. This is a man whose ego was fed by this attention.
Guy Cummings was arraigned on charges of kidnapping and assault and battery. An Arizona governor's warrant stipulated that bail be denied. But because of a bureaucratic snafu, the warrant was misplaced, and a judge, unaware of Cummings' track record, released him on his own recognizance. Guy Cummings promptly vanished.
We have conducted raids, we've conducted interviews, and contacted police agencies where he was believed to have been. And most of the time, we miss him just by a hair.
When I learned that he got away, I was very, very upset, very angry, very mad. So I don't want him to do this to anybody else. I just don't want to see another woman go through this.
Guy Cummings is 31 years old and a dedicated bodybuilder. He has a tattoo of a rooster wearing boxing gloves on his upper left arm. The names Joanne Christine, Derek Anthony, and Tony Marie tattooed on his right bicep. Cummings may now be hiding out in New York City or Massachusetts. Last week, a man claiming to be Guy Cummings called Unsolved Mysteries. He protested his innocence and insisted he had paid off many of his debts. He also said that he plans to turn himself in. However, it should be noted that Guy Cummings has made the same promise on several occasions in the past. If you have any information about Guy Cummings, please contact the Massachusetts State Police Department or call our toll-free number, 1-800-876-5353.